Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my May product roundup video. This is the first of its kind that I'm doing on my channel. I hope to do these every single month instead of doing kind of like a monthly favorites, just so that I get a little bit more in depth and so you get an update on each of the new products I bring into my collection. So I'm going to be doing mini reviews on each one of them. So I'm really excited about this. So please let me know if this video is helpful and you enjoyed it. If you want to see me continue doing these on my channel, that would be super helpful. I have a feeling this video is going to be on the longer side, so before we get into it, I would love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It would mean so much to me, and let's get to it. So I'm going to kick off this video with the Milani products. They've launched a few products this month, and I'm first going to hit it off kind of on a sad note. These are the two lip balms they launched. One is a rose lip mask and the other is like an everyday lip balm. They both did not work out for me. My brother indeed did give this back after he found out that it turns his lips red or pink. But I tried both of these out. They both did not work for me. I think they were a little bit too fragrant and not hydrating enough. They just almost made my lips worse, or they just didn't help them at all, so they kept getting worse. So these are a no from me. They just did not help my lip situation at all. So next product is still by Milani. This is the Green Goddess Sleeping Mask and Primer. Originally I thought this was going to be very similar to the Summer Fridays Jetlag mask, and I was hoping so, but I do find them to be a little bit different. They are, I think, meant to be kind of the same. Like Milani's packaging looks identical to the Summer Fridays, and it's kind of in one of these crinkly type bottles. To me, it was kind of like a same but different kind of concept. They're a little bit different. The Milani one has more of a prevalent fragrance to it, and it also leaves behind more of an emollient texture on the skin, so it feels a little bit more oily. Not in a bad way, just compared to the Jetlag one. The Jetlag one doesn't really feel like that. But when I am wearing this one, I am aware that I'm wearing something on my face, if that makes any sense. It feels a little bit heavier compared to the Jetlag mask. Personally, if I really had to pick between the two, I would pick the Summer Fridays Jetlag mask, just because it was so much more effective for my skin type personally, and I also found it to be a lot more comfortable on my skin. So I wouldn't consider this guy a dupe, but on its own, as its own product, it is still really good, and I am going to continue using it. I have been getting a lot of use out of it. I do really enjoy it, but just speaking of, because I did say that I was going to update my thoughts on if they were dupes or not, and I would consider it not to be a dupe. It is a lovely product, and it is very deeply hydrating, and for that, it's great. The next product I'm going to be talking about is the Milani Screen Queen, and for the amount of times this was featured on my channel this month, I'm assuming you guys already know where this is headed. This is a fantastic foundation, and I had nothing but amazing results with this. No matter what I put underneath of it, no matter how long I wore it, it just looked amazing on my skin. The finish is beautiful. It gives kind of like a nice natural finish, but with the products I usually put underneath, it makes it look more of like a dewy finish, which I adore, and it just lasts a very long time. It looks really high-end on my skin personally. It does not look like a drugstore foundation at all. The only downside to this is that I did find that they oxidize a touch, but not at a point where I wouldn't recommend it. It's just, you just have to be aware of it. I love how it doesn't accentuate any of my texture, and when I had dry patches in the areas where I broke out and things like that, it does not cling on to those dry patches at all. It just leaves them alone. It doesn't bug it, doesn't aggravate it. It just looks really nice. I can't recommend this foundation enough, and their shade range is quite amazing for a drugstore foundation. I'm very highly impressed with this. I would totally go for it if you've been thinking about it. Love it so much. The next product I'm going to be talking about is the Tower 28 Bronzino, and the first time I tried this, I was a little bit nervous. I do wish that they launched more shades, because I do think 2 shades is definitely not enough. When I first used it, I was just not a fan of the base I was using that day, and it looked kind of not the best on top of it. It looked really red. I swear it did some kind of weird reaction, but then I tried it a few more times and I have definitely fallen in love with it. It is super unique to my collection, and I think that's why it stands out to me so much. It is unlike any bronzer I've ever tried. It's very unique. When I first saw them on Instagram and such and swatched opaquely, I was like, that's just a highlighter for deeper skin tones. But once I applied it to into my cheeks in the wave technique, I was sold. I adore it now. This, for my skin tone, is the best for the wave technique because it mimics the exact shade when I'm a little bit more heavily tanned, and I have completely fallen in love with it. I love the balmy texture. It's kind of the same texture as their blushes if you already have those. It's the same kind of thing, but I love how there's this really nice shimmer in it that just amplifies the glow and just makes it look even more beachy and summery, and everything I love so much in bronzers is put into here, and I just gotta say I have completely fallen in love with this, and I could not recommend it enough if you're into that glowy bronzy look. This is a really great option. I love the shimmer in here so much. The next product I'm going to be talking about is the Iliad Decades highlighter. I have fallen head over heels in love with this highlighter. It is amazing. I love everything about it. The tone of it really excites me because it's the perfect soft gold. There is no chunky glitter in here, and once it's applied, it looks so nice. It's so nice and flattering. It doesn't grab onto any texture at all. It's a very creamy powder highlighting formula. It's so lovely. It builds and blends seamlessly. I've never had an issue of any sorts with this at all. It really reminds me of the NARS Fort de France. It is quite similar. I'd just say this one is a touch more intense, and it also reminds me of a powder version of the Dior Face and Body, which both of those are some of my top favorites, so this just fits into my collection perfectly, and I've been using it like crazy. They did an incredible job with the formulation. I'm super impressed, and I would totally recommend this. I have not tried their bronzer that they launched in this collection yet, but that will for sure be something I test out within the next month. So now moving on, I have another bronzer here, and this is the Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer. This just melted my heart again. This is another bronzer that now stands out in my collection. It has a really nice finish. It's a little bit more on the glowy side, kind of mimics a balm, that kind of glossy sheen that is so lovely and I love so deeply. It's a beautiful buildable formula as well, so you can get a bunch of different looks with this bronzer. If you're not wearing any foundation and you just want a little bit of definition, you can use this very lightly and it will get you there. And if you're wearing like a full coverage foundation, you can get this to be quite intense as well. So this to me checks off all my boxes for a cream bronzer, and it really stands out in my collection as well. Like, it does not compare to any of my other flat bronzers in my collection, I'd say. I think my favorite thing about it is that it mimics a skin-like finish so beautifully. So I would highly recommend this product to you if you've been looking at this. Speaking of the Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out collection, I've tried out one of the blushes. This is the Cheeks Out blush in Daiquiri Dip. I have not tried my orange one yet. Fuego Flush, I believe it's called. I haven't gotten around to using that one yet, but this is the one that I have been reaching for. It is a very unique color to my collection as well as formula. I do really adore it. This is such a beautiful tone. It is super vibrant, super unique to the colors I have in my collection. I love how they have more of a sheerness to it, but it's still very impactful, and it has a very nice glossy glowy finish to it without feeling too emollient or balmy or wet or anything. It just is perfect for me. I love cream blush like nothing else, and I'm quite picky at that as well, and this one fits into my collection so beautifully. I can't wait to pick up more shades. I'm looking at Rosé Latte Rose, something, the more brown toned one. That's the one I have on my wish list for the next time I put in the Sephora order. So I would highly recommend these. These are beautiful. So the next product I'm going to be talking about is the Covergirl Skin Milk. Sadly, no. I've given this a fair shot and it's a no. I loved it when I first used it on my channel, but then with every single thing I would put underneath or on top of it every other time I used it, it looked awful and it treated me awful. It disrespected me. The smell is super off-putting. I dealt with it the first couple of times because I was just very desperate for me to love this. The packaging is freaking cute. It's a nice price point and it's clean beauty. I just really wanted to love it, but sadly it just was not it. For a light coverage thing, it was so heavy on my skin. I just felt like an oil petal immediately after I applied it. I believe the coconut oil in here isn't correctly balanced or something. I feel like that's why there's so many inconsistencies. It's very 50-50. Every time I use this product, people either love it in the comments or absolutely hate it. I don't know what is what, but that to me means that there's a lot of inconsistencies. This to me is just kind of off-putting as well, because sometimes there's like these little white balls in it, and I think that's the coconut oil. So again, I think there's just something wrong with the ingredients or something. Maybe I got a wrong batch. Who knows what the dealio is with this, but it's not good. I don't know why I said dealio. I feel like a dad at a cookout. So to me, I would not recommend this. I only had one good experience out of the 6 or 7 times I've used this, so this to me is just a big no-no. Save your money, put it towards something a little bit better, because this ain't it. The next product I want to talk about is the Kosis Concealer. I really enjoy this now. Now that I have a little bit more of a tan, this is my perfect shade, and I can say that this is such a lovely concealing formulation. I love how lightweight it is, and the finish of it is completely gorgeous. I can't get enough of it. I do still want to order a lighter shade just so that I have my shade all year round. I just love how buildable it is, and the consistency is just so perfect. I swatched a little bit on my hand here. It is very glowy and kind of that consistency that I just love and adore in complexion products. So this to me is just awesome. I love the coverage as well. It's quite buildable if I need a little bit more coverage, or I can really sheer it out. It does an amazing job at correcting my under eyes as well as the areas where I want a little bit more coverage. And I also use it on my lighter makeup days where I don't wear foundation. I would just put it on my breakout spots, first applying it to my hand, then on my face with my finger, and it's amazing. I did that in one of my IGTV videos this month, but yeah, this concealer has won my heart over. I was unsure at first, but I do really adore it now. Now for the Kosis Color and Light Cream Blush and Highlighter. I purchased this for the Sephora VIP sale. I got the shade Tropic Equinox, and to me this is very similar to one of the blushes I already love and use all the time, the Kara Weiss Desired Glow blush. This is quite similar, and I love the finish of it. It's very glowy. It's way more glowy than the Fenty one, so if that throws you off, then maybe don't purchase this, but I completely adore that finish. It mimics that glass skin look that I adore, and same with the highlighter. I don't think I've used the highlighter on my channel yet, but I've used it a few times off camera, and it's just a really stunning sheer formula that really amplifies the light once it hits it. It is just so stunning, and it has a really nice longevity to it as well. It wears beautifully, and I do see myself picking more shades up. I wanted to pick up Velvet Melon as well on the sale, but sadly that shade sold out, so that's another one that's going to be on my list for my next purchase. But I do really enjoy this duo, and I really like the fact that it's a duo, so if it's in a makeup case situation, I'm more likely to add this into my everyday makeup bag, just because it's a 2-in-1. That's always so nice and handy. So yeah, that's my thoughts about this guy. I really enjoyed it. The next product I want to talk about is the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow. I've added this into my rotation. I love the glow that it gives, but it doesn't leave any oily or emollient texture behind, which I do really like, because it makes me think that it's going to be better for the long wearing days, especially for the hotter months. So this has given me a lot of hope for that, and every time I use this I just adore it. I'm actually wearing it under everything today, which, by the way, I did film this look. It's going to be a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, so that should be up quite soon as well. It distributes a really beautiful sheer amount of glow, and there's no Tin Man effect at all underneath. I really dislike that look, but this one, it doesn't happen with that. It just adds a glow for within type look, even if you don't want to wear foundation at all. It's really beautiful on its own. It just makes me feel so summery, and of course I love that so much. So this to me was a winner this month. Next I have another Charlotte Tilbury product, and this was the Film Star Bronze and Glow. I do really enjoy the formulations in here. The bronzer in here was really nice and easy to blend out and build up, just the tone was off for my skin tone. It was far too red for me, and it also had kind of like a cool toned aspect to it, so it just looked a little bit muddy for my skin tone. It just didn't work. And the highlighting side is a beautiful formulation as well. It just doesn't match my preference in highlighters. This one was way too silvery and icy and very visible. It would leave kind of like a highlighting strip, and it looked kind of artificial to me, so that's why it didn't work out for me. So I am going to pass this on to someone who it suits a lot better than it suits me. But on that same note, just like a week after I tried this guy out, she launched this beautiful thing, the Airbrush Bronzer. Oh my goodness. It's massive. It's almost the size of my head, but it is a fantastic bronzer. I'm wearing it today. It is so beautiful. The formulation is the softest bronzer, the most finely milled, I have to say. It is so soft, and it builds up so beautifully that it just truly looks airbrushed on the skin once you have your effect down. It is fantastic, and I would totally recommend this to you. I love every single little thing about this. The tone of the bronzer is absolutely perfect. I use the shade 2 Medium. From formula to packaging, it's just perfection for me. So I super recommend. I see myself having this in my collection for a very long time. I can't speak enough good things about it. So if these didn't work out for you, you have hope. An eyeshadow palette that I tried out was the Viseart. Whoops, I'm not really sure. I did not enjoy this. I have tried other Viseart palettes in the past, and I've never been impressed or wowed by them, I guess. I think they just don't mesh with my preferences, I guess. I'm not sure. I personally don't like the packaging. I don't like how the sticker was half-assed applied. I don't think the quality was good of this personal one. I know when I used it, a lot of people are like, you're using an eyebrow palette as an eyeshadow palette. This one is marketed as an eyebrow and eyeshadow palette, so even if it does say eyebrow in it, I feel like it should still perform well as an eyeshadow palette since it's marked for that. I know a lot of people argue that this is great for makeup artists, and yeah, that is fantastic, but when I was working actively as a makeup artist a lot, I knew my kit inside and out. I knew exactly what was what and where everything was and what I had in each of my palettes, that it doesn't matter if you have this clear case. To me, this is very cheap and not worth $100. But that's just my preference. If you love the Viseart palettes and such, more power to you. For me, it just didn't work out, and I just don't enjoy it, nor does it make me excited. And for me, if a product does not make me feel excited to use it, I'm like, what's the point? So sadly, this one is a pass for me, and I will be passing this on to someone else. Another eyeshadow palette that I tried out is this Ilya Warm Nude palette. This was sitting in my new products section for way too long. I have no idea why I didn't try this sooner, because I am very regretful. The formulation in here is so stunning. It builds up so beautifully. It is stunning. All the other clean beauty eyeshadows that I've tried were not even close to this quality. I think they have a cooler toned palette like this, so that will be something I need to pick up, but this is beautiful. This also reminds me of fall, so I see myself using that when fall time comes around again. I just love the tones in here. It's so perfect for like a little makeup bag or on the go. It's so cute, and the formulation was fantastic. The shadows built up beautifully. They didn't get chalky or weird or anything. My favorite thing was how they built up, because sometimes when you try to build up a shadow, once it gets that initial layer, sometimes it's really hard to build it up. Sometimes there's like patchiness issues, or it just like it's at its max opacity, but this, you can build it and build it and build it. I love the look I created with this palette in my clean beauty video, and I'm really excited to dive into this again. I have a product here that I'm going to move on to the next month, because I did not give this First Aid Beauty Weightless Liquid Mineral Sunscreen with Zinc Oxide SPF 30 a good enough try. I kept going back to my Ren Clean Screen just out of habit, so I'm gonna try even more to use this under my makeup. I only use this on the days that I was not wearing makeup and I was out in the sun, because I leave my other one that I have in my purse, so it's always with me. So I'm just going to move this one along to next month's product roundup. I've only used it once or twice under makeup, and so far I have no conclusion. That's my update on that. Next, I have a lipstick here. This is the Nobla Metropolitan lipstick. I can tell this is going to be a super well-loved lipstick in my collection. It is a beautiful tone. It's like a nice nude brown that has a little tinge of yellow in there, so it suits my skin tone so perfectly. I love the finish of this because it does have a sheerness to it that I find so beautiful. It's lightweight. I don't feel like it's there. It has a really nice sheen to it as well. So I think this lipstick is going to be super well loved. I think they launched 3 shades in their newer collection, but this is the one I see myself wearing the most. And then I have another lipstick formula here. These are the Yves Saint Laurent Tatouage Couture Velvet Cream lipsticks. These are fantastic, you guys. Oh my gosh, they're very luxurious. It is YSL after all, but if you're looking for a really nice matte lipstick that stays a really long time, this is perfect. I don't need to use a lip liner with these at all. They have a really unique applicator to them. It has a really nice edge and it's also thicker, so the application is quite quick, but the flat edge creates such a straight line that you don't need a lip liner. It just is absolutely perfect, and the formulation is so nice. It is a matte finish, but it doesn't dry down like a liquid lipstick. It has a super creamy texture to it that I can't get enough. These are my 4 favorite shades in the whole 14 range. My favorites are 208, which is a very bright red, 206, which is a beautiful deep burgundy red, 216, which is a beautiful peachy nude, and the last one is 212, which is a nice pumpkin-y darker orange red. It is fantastic. Those are my 4 shades that I really fell in love with. If you had your eyes on them, they are completely worth it in my opinion. They're stunning. And then the last product I'm going to mention, I've only used once, and I think there were a few other products that I've only used once but decided to skip because I just didn't have an opinion on them other than the ones I already voiced in my videos already. But this is the Anastasia and Norvina collection electric cake liners. I've only tried these ones, and to me these are super fun. They're a very similar concept to the Suva Beauty Hydra liners, and I know a few other brands have similar concepts to these as well. It has a uniqueness to it that isn't exactly the same as the Suva ones, because once these kind of dry down when you're working with them and you apply a little bit of a thicker coat, they do not crack at all. They have a flexibility to them, which is very nice, because the Suva Beauty ones, if you build them up too much, they do start to crack, which is a shame. So this to me is really worth it if you can get your hands on them, and if you are someone who's going to wear these colors. They're very out there and very different, and definitely not for the everyday person, but if you're someone who you've had your eyes on these for a while, these are really nice and they are very easy to work with. The only thing that makes me nervous about them is that they are in a metal pan and you're constantly adding water to it, so I'm not sure if it's going to end up rusting. So that's just something to keep your eye out on. I haven't had these long enough for that to happen. I'm just saying that's a concern of mine. It's too bad that you can't order them one by one and that they come in like trios like this. There's another one as well, I just haven't used that one. This is the only one I tried. But yeah, that's that on these. I do really like them. But that concludes this May product roundup. I really hope this was helpful. You will definitely be seeing a few of these products in an upcoming favorites video in about a month or 2. I think I found a lot of good ones this month. With that being said, that is all for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like. It would help me out so very much. I will link all of these products in the description as always, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye!